Have you ever wondered where Elvish came from? Pored over the runes to solve the puzzle of the ring? We've all experienced the frustration of trying to find subtitles for the whispered conversations between Aragorn and Arwen, and marveled at the lyrical beauty of the elven speech. But there's a lot more to it than that. In the original Lord of the Rings cycle, a whole new world was launched with its own culture, history, and languages. All the work of one very gifted man. Tolkien was an innovator in fantasy writing, whose influence has continued to grow with Peter Jackson's extraordinary film adaptations of his books. Originally a story Tolkien developed for his children, The Hobbit introduced to a fascinating audience of all ages a completely new world, peopled with elves, goblins, dwarves, orcs, trolls, and naturally, hobbits. The realm in which these creatures lived, together with men, in the species sense, was called Middle-earth, a term of Norse mythology, from the name Midangard or Midgard. This represented the earth itself in Anglo-Saxon poetry, believed to be the battleground where the forces of good fought against evil, and much better known today with the introduction of Nordic myth into Marvel movies, such as Thor. Tolkien himself was a renowned philologist and scholar who specialized in Middle and Old English. He was, for many years, an Oxford University professor who formed social clubs where drinking beer and reciting Anglo-Saxon and Nordic poetry were the favorite activities. Language itself was his lifelong passion, and he had been inventing his own languages and scripts since his teens. But a language on its own is of little interest without people to speak it, and people must have a world to live in and a history of their own. From such reasoning was his Middle-earth born. Tolkien knew many ancient and modern languages and was very interested in Greek, Welsh, and the linguistically isolated Finnish. By using these as a foundation for his inventions, Tolkien presented himself as a translator of ancient or obscure languages for his fictitious realm, believing that the fantasy characters themselves could not be fully realized if they only spoke English. Some of his names alone reflect Tolkien's professional linguistic background. Sauron is apparently linked to an Icelandic or Old Norse stem meaning uncleanness, filth, or dung, and Saruman's name comes from the Anglo-Saxon root siaru, meaning cunning or treachery. Mordor is even more recognizable, deriving from the Old English word morthor, and also found in French meurtre, which means murder. Tolkien also used his deep knowledge of German languages to connect various branches of racially linked characters. The Rohirrim, for example, speak a dialect based on Old English forms, while the Dalemen's dialect is based on linguistically similar Old Norse. Some Hobbit names, such as Meriadoc, are derived from Welsh, and most characters speak Westron, a common tongue represented by modern English. There are several Elvish dialects, of which Quenya and Sindarin are the best developed, and other specialized languages were also drafted, such as the language of the dwarves, Entish, and the black speech used by Sauron. Tolkien wrote many academic and fictional works based on language, of which the Lord of the Rings cycle are only the best known. In fact, his linguistic works are still being discovered and published by his son Christopher and a team of appointed editors. If you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.